Folger Drive. That's right across the interstate from the main lot. I tell you, better to serve you with higher quality, higher quantity, king of price deals on pre-owned vehicle. Come see us today at our new location, 1011 Folger Drive, right across the interstate from the main showroom. You can't miss us. And as always, king of price, king of deals, you can't beat Randy Marion in Statesville.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
All right, welcome to Heart Mooresville on WSIC. I'm your host, Don Smyle. Missing today is my effervescent co-host, Christine Patterson, who is at a conference, winning friends and influencing people, because that's what she does. So we wish her the best in what she's doing, and we look forward to having her back next week. But with that said, I am surrounded by mics. I literally have 3 mics.
Good name.
In addition to the one in my face, I have 3 guests, all with the first name Mike. So that's pretty cool. I feel out of place. But anyway, welcome, gentlemen. We're going to have a great show. We're fortunate. We're going to talk about the Egg Quest. The Egg Quest is something that we've been doing for a couple years now, and we're super excited to have some gentlemen here who are heavily involved in the Egg Quest, both in planting the eggs as well as supporting and sponsoring the event. So we'll talk to all the mics here in a moment. We were talking off camera before we came on about this time of year and the pollen, right? Is it heavier than normal this year? What do you think?
It sure seems to be.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Step outside and you can't miss it.
If you got allergies, man, it is not a good time of year. Like I was saying, if I mow the grass this time of year, I'm definitely wearing a respirator because there's just so much of it. Luckily, we had really heavy rain yesterday, and that got rid of a lot of it, and hopefully it'll tamp down some of that stuff. But as I know people who have allergies this time of year, and it's brutal.
I take a Zyrtec every day.
Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I thought that my car was gray, but it turns out it's actually yellow.
No point in washing your car right now.
No,
that's for sure.
Not at all. And it's amazing how quickly it gets on the inside of your car. Like, I mean, I wipe down the car, and like 2 days later, it's all yellow on the inside. And I'm like, man, this is insidious. But it is a passage, and good things come from all of this. And the grass gets green, and the trees flower, and everything looks beautiful. So hopefully we'll see some of that, although I do believe we're going to have some colder weather later this week again. So apparently Mother Nature is not done playing tricks on us. So, all right. So we will dive into our guests here in the next segment. But as Christine is not here, I will take over the duties of talking about in the news, and I will do my best job, Christine, to do as good as you do. Oh, and we got to have the music. The music is important. So, what's going on in Mooresville? Well, let's see. Mooresville's only hospital has a new name, Duke Health Lake Norman Hospital. You've been following this saga?
A little bit.
Yeah. So, Lake Norman Regional Medical Center has officially been renamed Duke Health Lake Norman Hospital last week. So employees and providers have been extended employment offers with Duke, and they said that they should enable a seamless transition for patients. Duke is also providing interim leadership as the search for a new hospital president gets underway. They said over the next several months, the hospital's electronic medical records will be integrated into the Duke system. And I happen to know a lot about electronic medical records because my wife is actually IT support at Novant. And Novant was actually trying to buy that hospital, and that didn't happen. But she's the resident IT specialist in our home, believe it or not. And so I understand a little bit about that. But so the Lake Norman Hospital includes 24 hours of emergency care, labor and delivery services, cardiology, surgical and orthopedic care, and outpatient imaging center. And again, as I mentioned, Novant Health had attempted to buy the hospital and Davis Regional Psychiatric Hospital of Statesville for about $320 million, but that effort got stopped, citing continuous roadblocks from the FTC. The FTC argued the lack of competition would not benefit patient care and could lead to higher costs. So congratulations to Duke Health Lake Norman Hospital, the newly renamed. So always good to have some medical centers in town that are supported by, a name like Duke Health. So that's a good thing. All right, what else we got going on? The Rope Runner Derby. Has anybody ever heard of this?
That's a new one to me.
Rope Runner Derby. Okay. So I didn't know about it till I read it this morning, but once I read it, I understood because I've seen it. So Mooresville Service Unit 136 held its second annual rope derby on March 28th at the Fusian Teen Center, bringing together daisies, brownies, juniors, and cadets for a fun-filled evening of racing and creativity. So the question around the table is, what are rope runners? Well, a rope runner are wooden racing figures that rely on gravity and balance to speed along two parallel ropes. And you've probably seen these, you just didn't know that's what they were called. So each participant assembles their rope runner from a kit, which allows plenty of room for creativity and personal expression. And then the scouts take turns launching their rope runners, and the fastest rope runner wins. So imagine something that spirals down two ropes, right? So additional honors are given in categories as most creative, leader's choice, best animal design, and Girl Scout spirit. And the Rope Runner Derby is actually a STEM learning program. It has 2 successful events in the books. Mooresville Service Unit 136 is already looking forward to next year's competition. So, it's kind of like the Derby,
Pinewood Derby.
Pinewood Derby,
that's what I was thinking about when you were reading that.
Yeah, and so it's just a different method of doing that, which is kind of cool.
Any kind of STEM opportunities that kids can have to get interactive like that,
yeah,
it's huge.
Yep.
Yeah,
The things that the Mooresville Graded School District does with that, it's exciting to see the kids get excited about that kind of thing.
Well, since we have somebody from Mooresville Graded District, Michael, why don't you tell us about your STEM programs? That's a nice segue in.
Sure, thanks. We have a lot of programs, as Mike Gander mentioned. STEM is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, is giving the students some real-world applications, some hands-on experiences with the field of engineering and technology, which technology is ever evolving every day. And so anything that we can do to provide that opportunity for our students. So at the lower grade levels, I have a daughter who's in the 4th grade. She actually was just in a STEM club. Monday afternoons they meet. We have a partnership with Davidson College. Comes to Mooresville Intermediate School, and it's a girls in STEM program, so she gets that opportunity after school. All the way up to our high school, we have a lot of CTE, our career and technical ed. We have drone technologies, which is a newer program at Mooresville High School. It's really exploded and taken off. So a lot of opportunities out there for our students to get that hands-on experience and see the world of technology and engineering and really get immersed into it to see if that's a field they want to continue with.
Yeah, and that's something we didn't have when I was growing up. I won't tell you my age, but we still, I'm going to actually show my age. We had punch cards when I was in high school. This is how old I am, right? Do you even know what a punch card is, right? It was the precursor to the computer in some ways. And basically you had this manila colored hard paper and you stuck it in this machine and you type in some code and words and it would punch holes in this thing. And then that was basically your computer program. And you fed it through and it would do certain things. So just thinking about it makes me feel old. Oh, my goodness. Well, we are certainly excited to have all the mics in the house because we're going to be talking about the Egg Quest and how this process will go. And it's a very popular event. And the opportunity to get out in the parks and really explore all the parks in the Mooresville system is important. That's something that's close to my heart for sure. So we're going to talk more with the mics when we come back from break here on Heart Mooresville and WSIC.
As local as Mooresville. Christine Patterson and Don Smyle host Heart Mooresville on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, after a soggy start to the work week, our rain finally moving out overnight as we start to dry things out. Big time changes, though, on the way as we cool things back down a bit. Plenty of sunshine back for your Tuesday. Temperatures only warm up to around 60. We get cold, falling into the mid-30s. Could have some patchy frost around the lake early Wednesday morning. Temperatures in the low 60s for the afternoon. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like Nina's Boutique,
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Friday night is the Live Under the Oaks Outdoor Concert Series at Birkdale Village in Huntersville. Grab your friends, family, and your lawn chairs as weekly music has returned to the plaza each Friday through October. The Matt Walsh performance kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday at Birkdale Village in Huntersville with Live Under the Oaks. The 500 Club in Statesville presents live music on Saturday night. Thirsty Horses performs their brand of rock, pop, and American country from the 60s to today, with the show kicking off at 6 p.m. On Sunday, coming out for the Masters Final Round Watch Party. Call 704-872-9990 or visit the 500 Club online for more details. On Sunday, Two Trees Sports Bar and Grill in Denver is planning a daytime rock takeover. Minutes Past Midnight will bring their set of hard rock and 90s grunge to keep the high-energy vibe going all afternoon. Sunshine, cold drinks, and live rock await you this Sunday at Two Trees in Denver. The NHRA returns to ZMAX Dragway on April 25th through the 27th with the annual 4-Wide Nationals. See 40,000 horsepower at one time when drag racing's finest stars line up to compete 4-wide. Every ticket is a pit pass, so come early to see your favorite drivers and cars up close before they race at over 300 miles per hour. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for tickets and more information about the NHRA 4-Wide Nationals on April 25th through the 27th. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
MuralFest 2025 presented by Window World returns April 24th through the 27th in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Hear the Avett Brothers, Bonnie Raitt, The Dead South, Watch House, Wyatt Floors, I'm With Her, Leftover Salmon, The Warren Treaty, The Steel Drivers, and many more. For tickets, visit MuralFest.org.
Mooresville, how we feeling? Good. Welcome back to iHeart Mooresville on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
All right, welcome back to iHeart Mooresville. I'm your host, Don Smyle. Missing in action is co-host Christine Patterson, but I am super excited to have guest host Dr. Michael Royal, Chief of Schools for the Mooresville Graded School District, just one of 3 mics we have on the show today. So I kind of want to dive in. First of all, tell us a little bit about. I'm reading your bio here, and you've obviously been around for a while, and you've progressed up. So, what is exactly a chief of schools? And let's tell us about a little bit about your background, a little bit about you, and then let's talk about what your current role is.
Sure. Thanks, Don. As you mentioned, I've been with Mooresville Schools now since 2001. So this is year 24 for me in the Mooresville Graded School District. Started out as a math teacher at Mooresville High School. Spent 7 years there in the classroom, and then moved up to be an assistant principal for about 3.5 years.
All right.
And then moved up to the principal at Mooresville for about 6 years. So spent 16 years at Mooresville High School. Met my wife there. She's a school counselor, still there. Cool. So we live in town. But since moving up from Mooresville High School, I'm at the central office. Changed a few roles, and now, like you said, I'm in the chief of schools role. Which is like an assistant superintendent. So I work closely with our school principals. We have 9. We're blessed with 9 fantastic principals, 9 of our schools in Mooresville. So I work with them on a daily basis, answer questions, kind of coach and mentor them. Also serve in the role as our district athletic director. So I spend time with our secondary schools, 2 middle schools, and our high school athletic director, making sure that we're following all the guidelines and proper procedures and protocols for all of our student athletes to give them a good experience. And we have 2 daughters. Like I mentioned earlier, I have a 4th grader and a 7th grader in Mooresville Schools. Right. Just really enjoying their experience and really taking advantage of all the opportunities that we have in Mooresville for all students.
Well, I have to say I'm exhausted just hearing you speak. I don't know all the things that you do. That is crazy. But I think it's really cool that you kind of, worked your way up from being a teacher to this, this role that you have now, technically assistant superintendent, because I think it's really important for, perspective, to understand what teachers go through. And we certainly, a big shout out to all the teachers, out there educating our children. I've always said, I felt like teachers, firemen, and police should be the highest paid people, in America, and doctors, obviously, because those are the ones that educate us, right? Protect us and keep us healthy, right? And those are the kind of 3 things that are really important. So, but it's nice that you've been able to progress up through there and kind of bring that perspective with you into the role that you have now, which I'm sure benefits you in dealing with, the ever evolving landscape and the things that change. And quite frankly, math was my worst subject. So I should have had a teacher like you, because I avoided it like the plague. And that's why my wife does all the bills at home, because if it was up to me, we'd be broke and living on the streets, because I can't even balance my checkbook. I'm not ashamed to say it. All right. So in addition to your role as chief of schools, which I think is a very cool title, by the way, I just love that. You also serve on the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee, and that is something that I discovered when I came to Parks and Recreation, something that our ex-director, Pam Reedy, started. Hello, Pam, if you're listening. We miss you. And she's now retired and running around enjoying life, which is great. But tell us about the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee, kind of what the role is, what you guys do, because you're heavily involved in the Egg Quest, and we'll get to that in a minute. But just kind of give us the evolution of the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee.
Sure. Yeah, so I've been on the committee. Part of that was with my role with the school district, having a representation, because we believe in having a strong partnership with the town of Mooresville as well as the school district itself, which we do. We continue to have a really strong working relationship and a partnership. And so I'd say probably 6 years ago, started serving on that advisory committee. And it's really what the title says. It's an advisory committee to the town commissioners and the Parks and Rec department itself. So it's a group of citizens representing the different wards in Mooresville. We come together pretty much every other month is when we were meeting. And when Pam would bring us something, director of Parks and Rec at the time, she'd bring us some things that she needed some feedback on. She would come to that advisory committee because the folks on that committee live in Mooresville. We know about all of the 16 parks. A lot of us have children, so we go to those parks on a regular basis, and we can provide input, whether that's how we should spend some money, what parks need upgrading. We went around to each of the parks and kind of did an assessment ourselves to see what the parks needed, what some of the highlights were, some things that we like. And then when there's different events going on in town, they like to get our feedback as well. So it's just an advisory committee that people live in town and can give some honest feedback, and then that feedback is taken to where it needs to go.
So do citizens have an opportunity to join the committee? How often does that opportunity present itself, and how do they get involved?
Yep. So we're actually no longer an official committee. We are now just that group of citizens that want to be involved and want their feedback heard. And so we meet every other month. We can get that schedule. It's posted online. Those are public meetings. Folks can come to those and offer their feedback as well. And they're usually on Tuesday nights. Typically, we just had a meeting in March, so the next one would be in May, I believe. Right. I'd have to check my calendar. Yeah. But again, every other month, and yeah, the public is welcome to come and give some feedback on those things.
All right. Yeah, and I know that, I've obviously participated in some of those meetings as the marketing manager for Parks and Rec. I'm curious, of all the things that you've been involved in, what are you most proud of on that committee?
I would say, we're getting ready to talk about the Egg Quest. We've heard a lot of good feedback from that. So I think that's one of our kind of our marquee events. And this is coming up on the 3rd year for the Egg Quest. So that's one. I also think just the feedback that we're able to give on our community parks, because we do have some funding that's available for those, and they come to us and ask for feedback on what improvements need to be made. So I think, again, just the feedback and the improvements that we've been able to make over the years with each of the individual parks.
Yeah, and I know how much Pam valued the feedback from the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee, because it really is, concerned citizens, people who live in the community who want things to be better. And you're out participating in the parks, you're seeing things that maybe we're not. Right. Perspective is very important, as I mentioned earlier. And so it's nice to have feedback from the community. As a department right now, we're going through our master plan. About every 5 to 7 years, we do a master plan and kind of give us a roadmap for what the future will look like in Parks and Recreation. And I know you guys are heavily involved in that discussion. And the thing that we see now is there's opportunities to grow some amenities within our park system. It's really interesting to gather people together. We've done this a couple of times at open sessions, and where the community can come in and kind of put dots on a board and tell us what they really want to see in the parks, and what amenities they want. Obviously, pickleball.
It's taken off.
They want the entire town of Mooresville to have a pickleball court. No, I'm kidding. But it's very, very popular, and believe it or not, cricket. That's another one that's risen to the top. There's a really large community in Mooresville that would like to play cricket. Right. And so, those are the things that we may not necessarily know unless we hear from the community. So it's a really great opportunity for us to get that feedback. So let's talk about the Egg Quest. So as you mentioned, this is the third year of this. It kind of evolved out of, the traditional Egg Dash that was happening in Parks and Recreation and communities around the world. But Mooresville, Pam wanted to find a different way to approach it. She wanted an opportunity for people to explore parks maybe they hadn't seen. And so the idea was, how do we get people into the parks? And so this idea of planting golden eggs in the park and allowing children to go out and find them kind of evolved from that. And like you said, it's gotten more and more popular. This year, we're actually doubling the number of eggs that we're placing in the parks, and we're doing 2 drops on the 12th and the 20th. So the first one is this weekend. So kind of tell us about that process and how your committee is involved in that, because let's face it, if you weren't doing this, it wouldn't happen. It's really thanks to the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee, who, everybody is, Michael has 16 jobs, but everybody has jobs, and they're going out and taking time to do this. So tell us a little bit about the Egg Quest from your perspective.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, Pam brought that idea to us when it was all surrounding the Mooresville's 150th anniversary, and this was kind of our what we felt would be a great way to get folks out into the parks. Like you said, there's a lot of parks in Mooresville. We actually have 16, and I don't know that everybody realized that. And so this is a great way to get them out there, get exposed to the parks, maybe visit one that they haven't gone to before, and then hopefully they'll come back. And so members of our advisory committee, we are assigned parks each weekend, and we have our eggs. Thanks to Stephanie Pennell, she's stuffed all those and distributed those to us. Mm-hmm. And so I've got my parks. I'm not going to share that information, but I'll share some eggs. I actually get up very, very early on Saturday morning and go out there. And what we've seen is over the years, like last year, we had folks that were waiting at the parks. And so we had to be very strategic about where we're hiding them. But again, it's just an opportunity for folks in Mooresville to see the opportunities that are out there with our Park and Rec department. And again, we've heard a lot of good feedback, but we'll hide those eggs. And then there's a redemption process, which I'm sure we'll get into. Mm-hmm. But again, we've got a great partner sponsor here. And we'll talk with the Mike and Mike from Carter Bank and Trust that have been with us since the inception. And again, it's just a great opportunity for folks to learn about our parks, but also learn about a local business that's invested in our community.
Yeah, and I think that's that kind of hits the nail on the head. It's really a partnership between 3 entities that all have a vested interest in the town. Local community bank who wants to serve the public in the Mooresville Greatest School District and Parks and Recreation, the advisory committee, I should say. And everybody has a vested interest in this process, and certainly, for me, the most fun is when the people who find the eggs share photos of themselves with the eggs. Mm-hmm. The looks on those kids' faces when they find these eggs is priceless, And yes, not everybody's going to find an egg. There's just so many to go around, but it's the fun of going out into the parks. Right. Like you said, we have 16 parks, and, you may not have been to Macla Park, or you may not have been to, Liberty Park, which I dare say probably nobody hasn't been to Liberty Park, but we have a lot of parks, and we have a lot of things going on, and we do get great feedback sometimes when somebody goes to a park and they realize, I didn't know this was here, right? And this is a really beautiful park. So
we do that just about every time. We have someone turn in an egg.
Really?
They visited a park that they had never visited before, and they're excited to learn about more places that they can visit in Mooresville.
Yeah, right. And we're going to talk about the redemption process because it actually is going to happen a couple different ways. And this year, we actually have 2 grand prizes, and they're awesome. And one of those is coming from a member of the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee, so that's pretty cool. But we're going to get into that with the other Mikes at the table, Michael Gander and Mike Dixon, both of Carter Bank, which has just rebranded. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. We come back here on Heart Mooresville and WSIC. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Heart Mooresville on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, after a soggy start to the work week, our rain finally moving out overnight as we start to dry things out. Big time changes, though, on the way as we cool things back down a bit. Plenty of sunshine back for your Tuesday. Temperatures only warm up to around 60. We get cold, falling into the mid-30s. Could have some patchy frost around the lake early Wednesday morning. Temperatures in the low 60s for the afternoon. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Hi, This is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Have you taken the Desco Challenge? Desco is where the professional goes for electrical supplies.
My name is Ashley. I just redid the lighting in my home, and the customer experience at Desco was second to none.
See for yourself at DescoInc.com.
Nelson Royals has top brands like Justin and Ariat, from work to western wear, boots and saddlery. Nelson Royals has it all. Mention WSIC and get 15% off your purchase. Visit Nelson Royals on Highway 150 in Mooresville or shop online at nelsonroyals.com.
Harness the healing power of horses. With the amazing staff at Willow Equine in Mooresville, we create a supportive environment conducive to healing and growth, dedicated to self-discovery and overcoming adversity. There's a program for you at willowequine.com.
Need a ride? iCats has you covered. Tuesdays to the VA in Salisbury, Thursday to Winston-Salem, and Fridays to Hickory. Plus, run errands every day around Iredell County for just $1. Visit rideicats.com.
Welcome to a Bible Minute with Pastor Randy Mitchell from Temple Baptist Church in Statesville.
The Bible says in 1 John chapter 2, verse number 15, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him." Folks, when God talks about loving the world is not just the breaking of the Ten Commandments. The world is a system, and the worldly system is orchestrated by Satan. It feeds off of our fleshly, sinful nature, and it's everything about us that wants to influence us and affect our life toward things that dishonor God. The next verse talks about the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life. These are all the things, the categories of the love of the world. But obviously, a relationship with God is a love relationship. We have to make a choice. You can love the world or you can love God, but you can't do both.
Thanks for listening to a Bible Minute with Pastor Randy Mitchell here on WSIC.
If you're a builder and you haven't went to Little Shaver's Wood Shop, you're missing all types of lumber products, hard to find woods and paneling materials that are in stock and ready to help you conquer anything the job throws your way. Locally owned, Little Shaver's Wood Shop has a friendly, knowledgeable staff to get you in, out, and on with your day. Little Shaver's Wood Shop, 3301 Salisbury Highway in Statesville. Little Shaver's Wood Shop, LILshavers.com.
Hello friends, this is Dwight with Gullion's Christian Supply and Homeschool Headquarters, inviting you to join the Gullion family and staff in praising the Lord for 30 years of providing you with trustworthy and inspiring books, Bibles, music, gifts, and supplies. We so appreciate your support and friendship over all these years. With locations in King and Statesville, North Carolina, visit us again soon for encouraging fellowship and essential provisions for your Christian life. Gullion's Christian Supply and Homeschool Headquarters, where the Bible stands.
Spring has sprung, and so have the savings. Drum Landscape Supply is your go-to for mulch, stone, sand, and specialty plants, and they're offering 50 to 70% off pavers and natural stone. Your dream landscape is just one stop away. Hurry in and save big, only at drumlandscapesupply.com.
It ain't easy being number one, but we make it look good.
WSIC.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. On Wall Street, a new direction. Right now, the Dow's gaining more than 3%, S&P up 3.5%, NASDAQ up nearly 4%. So is this a sustainable turnaround following the market's biggest three-day plunge since the 2020 pandemic panic, or just a quick round of stock traders snatching up shares beaten up over the past 3 trading days? Analysts are telling Bloomberg it is more likely the latter, a temporary bounce in a period of high volatility, especially considering that nothing has fundamentally changed since last week's tariff announcement from the president. Many market bets, though, today are based on hope that tariffs might be curtailed. The latest temperature taking of U.S. small business optimism shows there isn't much of it. Monthly index from the National Federation of Independent Business shows optimism falling in March to the lowest level since June 2022, with the share of owners expecting better business conditions over the next 6 months falling 16%. And this was taken before last Wednesday's global tariff rollout. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
The number one station for people who say we're their favorite station.
WSIC.
All things Mooresville to keep you in the Noseville. Join in the conversation by calling 844-STUDIO-4. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to this egg-tastic edition of Heart Mooresville and WSIC. I'm your host, Don Smyle. We are really excited to have three mics in the studio today that are all heavily involved in what has become a really fun community event, which is the third annual Egg Quest that's happening. First drop happens on the 12th. We're doing 2 drops this year. We've doubled the eggs, so we have 240 eggs this year, as opposed to the 120 we had last year. So plenty of opportunities to get out and explore the parks and find those golden eggs. And a partner that has been with us since the beginning of this endeavor is Carter Bank, and we are super appreciative of their participation and excited to have 2 of their mics in the building today. Michael Gander, who's VP Commercial Market Manager, and Mike Dixon, VP Mooresville Branch Manager. So, gentlemen, welcome.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for having us.
So let's talk a little bit about Carter Bank first. We were talking off camera about the length of time that Carter Bank has been in the community, and you recently went through a rebrand, but you've been in the same location for a long time. I know last year was your 50 years. So Michael, tell us a little bit about Carter Bank, and how long you guys have been around, and kind of what you mean to the community, what it means for you to be here.
Yeah. So December was 50 years of Carter Bank, and this Friday is 21 years of us serving the Mooresville community. So really excited about that. We're having a celebration in the office and invite everybody to come by and see what we're all about. But
is this Friday, you mean?
This Friday.
Okay, so what can people expect? Are they going to get some donuts or something?
Oh, yeah, we're going to have cake. We're going to have prizes. We're going to have all kinds of good stuff.
All right.
Totally new look, too. You'll
Yes.
see the new signage is up, new color scheme. Looks fantastic.
Yeah, I like the blue. The blue and the logo is very streamlined, and
We're told it's indigo.
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 Okay. Official color, indigo. Yeah, and the new logo is cool. I'm a big fan of design as a marketing guy, and when I saw that, I kind of it resonated with me. I thought, that's clean. It's clean. It's really nice.
Something we rolled out with our 50th anniversary. So it's we're excited to get it out there and show what Carter Bank's about.
Yeah, I remember driving by last week and seeing the sign truck out there, tearing down the old logo and putting the new one up. So, let's talk a little bit about Carter Bank and what makes you unique and different in the community. We talk about that local decision capacity and some of the things that you're able to do. So kind of tell us a little bit about the vision of Carter Bank and what sets you apart.
Well, one of the things I think that sets us apart is Mike and Mike here. I think you'll see us out in the community on a regular basis, whether it be just our interactions with the Chamber of Commerce or the Mooresville Downtown Commission or the Convention and Visitor Bureau or through the Mooresville Greatest School District. I think it's something that we're passionate about, is being involved partners within the community and making the community, a better place. So it's something that I'm passionate about, and we saw Egg Quest as a perfect opportunity to show what Carter Bank is all about and participating in showing the community these wonderful, green spaces that we've got, whether it be the parks or the greenways, alternative ways to get around town. Those are things that we're passionate about, and we want to help Mooresville become the place that it is, and it's a very sought after place to be.
Yeah, the thing I love about Mooresville, I say all the time, I don't live here, and I spent 20 plus years in racing, so I spent a lot of time in Mooresville as Race City USA. But until I started working here, I didn't really appreciate what Mooresville was about. And it's interesting how many people I talk to that have moved here from other places talk about Mooresville has a vibe. It has this hometown feel, but you feel like it's growing, and it's something that really draws not only individuals but businesses here because they want to be part of that. And so, Carter Bank has a long history in this community, and I think what's important about that is the relationships that you can create. You're not a transactional bank. I hear this a lot, right? So tell us a little bit about how you differentiate yourself from maybe a larger bank, and in what ways you serve the Mooresville community in a different way.
Well, life lived full is what we're all about. I mean, it is about establishing relationships. So we're not, I don't just do loans. We don't just collect deposits. It's all of the above. We want to be there. We want to be the partner for the residents in the community, the businesses. We're all facets bank. I mean, we've got all the tools necessary to be able to help the community, and we're excited to be that partner and have the opportunity to do that.
And they have easy names to remember, right? So you can go in and say, I want to talk to Mike, because there's plenty of them there. So you'll
That's
be
right.
you'll be on a first name
You're gonna
basis.
get one of us, one way or the other.
Yeah, you'll be on a first name basis with the Mikes. So, you talk about the length of time that you've been involved in this, 50 years. How has the bank evolved to better serve the community over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we've rolled out, every digital tool you can imagine. I mean, there's really nothing that you can find at a large commercial bank that we can also facilitate. So we're constantly evolving our digital offerings. We're constantly upgrading and evaluating our accounts, what we offer, and then our lending solutions. I mean, there's really nothing we can't offer.
Right.
So
I think that's important, because I think a lot of people think of a small community bank as maybe not having the capacity or the same type of offerings that a larger bank may have, and that's certainly not true. Correct?
That's correct. And it's also recognizing what the needs of the community are. We recognize Mooresville has two sides of town too, between the 115 and 117. So we're in the process of opening another branch on the 28117.
Breaking news.
Yeah, so we're excited to be having a branch over off of Williamson Road here shortly.
Excellent. And when will that be online?
That will be the end of May.
Okay.
Very soon then.
Yes.
Nice.
So, one of the cornerstones to the growth of the town is business. And so, you not only serve, the average citizen, but you serve the community and the growing business population that we have here too. So how do you, tailor your services to meet the needs of particular individuals, businesses that are moving here, whether large or small?
Well, I think you can even go back to some of the things that we've done in the past. I think, one of the needs that the community had during the time when COVID hit was the PPP program that a lot of businesses are familiar with. And I was very proud at how Carter Bank stepped up and reached out to the community and said, hey, we'll help anyone that's willing to come to us. A lot of other banks said we'll only handle our clients, or we're not doing it at all. Whereas I was really proud of Carter Bank stepping up and saying, hey, we're here to help any business within the community with the crisis that's taking place at this time. So I think it was a good example of what Carter Bank can do in the community to step up and help when it's needed.
Yeah, I mean, community is everything. And, what I said earlier about I love Mooresville because it has a small town feel, and I've always said it, if you looked up, small town America in the dictionary, there'd be a picture of Main Street in Mooresville, right? Because that's what it looks like. And it's just a really cool community. It has a great art scene, has a great music scene, has a great growing businesses. It's just a really cool place to live. And obviously that's reflected in the recent announcement of it being the fastest growing suburb in the United States. So it's nice to have, individuals like yourself supporting that growth. So let's talk about EggQuest. Because, we were talking off camera about how much fun both of you feel that program is. So I guess let's start with, why did Carter Bank choose to be involved? Let's do that, and then we'll pick up after the break. So
we saw it as an excellent opportunity to partner with the town. Anytime that we can get our name out there and celebrate something that the town obviously wants to celebrate as well, we're going to jump at. And we saw EggQuest as a fantastic opportunity to get people out into the parks and then come and visit Carter Bank and learn about what we are and who we are and how we go about doing things.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody who lives here and has family here, you've experienced the park. So there's that firsthand relationship with what this program really is. It's about family. It's about getting people in the parks to explore and go out and have a good time. Obviously, we talked off camera about it. It's that time of year. It's spring. People want to get outside. And maybe you haven't been to some of these parks, and it's a great opportunity to make some family memories. So it's really part of that, part of what makes this program unique. So we're going to talk more about Carter Bank with Mike and Mike when we come back here on iHeart Mooresville and WSIC. We'll be right back.
Stick around. More iHeart Mooresville with host Christine Patterson and Don Smyle is coming up on WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, after a soggy start to the work week, our rain finally moving out overnight as we start to dry things out. Big time changes, though, on the way as we cool things back down a bit. Plenty of sunshine back for your Tuesday. Temperatures only warm up to around 60. We get cold, falling into the mid-30s. Could have some patchy frost around the lake early Wednesday morning. Temperatures in the low 60s for the afternoon. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Friday night is the Live Under the Oaks Outdoor Concert Series at Birkdale Village in Huntersville. Grab your friends, family, and your lawn chairs as weekly music has returned to the plaza each Friday through October. The Matt Walsh performance kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday at Birkdale Village in Huntersville with Live Under the Oaks. The 500 Club in Statesville presents live music on Saturday night. Thirsty Horses performs their brand of rock, pop, and American country from the 60s to today, with the show kicking off at 6 p.m. On Sunday, come on out for the Masters Final Round Watch Party. Call 704-872-9990 or visit the 500 Club online for more details. On Sunday, Two Trees Sports Bar and Grill in Denver is planning a daytime rock takeover. Minutes Past Midnight will bring their set of hard rock and 90s grunge to keep the high-energy vibe going all afternoon. Sunshine, cold drinks, and live rock await you this Sunday at Two Trees in Denver. The NHRA returns to ZMAX Dragway on April 25th through the 27th with the annual 4-Wide Nationals. See 40,000 horsepower at one time when drag racing's finest stars line up to compete 4-wide. Every ticket is a pit pass, so come early to see your favorite drivers and cars up close before they race at over 300 miles per hour. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for tickets and more information about the NHRA 4-Wide Nationals on April 25th through the 27th. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
MerleFest 2025, presented by Window World, returns April 24th through the 27th in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Hear the Avett Brothers, Bonnie Raitt, The Dead South, Watch House, Wyatt Floors, I'm With Her, Leftover Salmon, The Warren Treaty, The Steel Drivers, and many more. For tickets, visit merlefest.org.
Looking good, Mooresville. I mean, you're sitting at that traffic light too. Might as well be looking at something. iHeart Mooresville continues now on WSIC.
All right, welcome back to this hot-tastic edition of iHeart Mooresville, WSIC. I'm your host, Don Smyle. We've been having a great conversation with the three mics today about the egg quest that's coming up, and I want to clarify. It's actually the 12th and the 19th, so the egg drops happen on both Saturdays, consecutive Saturdays, so the 12th through the 19th. So, Michael, we were talking off camera about one of the things that you really enjoy about the egg quest as it relates to staff. So let's talk a little bit about that. Tell me about your experience, because obviously we're going into the third year, so you've had a little experience with this now.
Ironically enough, the staff asked about it before the town did. So it was kind of funny. You can see the excitement that our local staff has as it relates to this event, because it's something that brings the community into the branch itself. Your average person doesn't come into a branch bank as much nowadays with the digital world that we live in. So any chance we can get to interact with the community is something that we look at as something special. And I think we can put our thumbprint on something special like this with EggQuest and show the community what Carter Bank's all about.
Yeah, and as I was saying earlier, I'm sure that your staff gets to interact with the kids and see those expressions, and it probably makes them, as happy as it does us, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Mike, I guess let's wrap this up with talking a little bit about, I guess just sum up how you feel about your involvement in the community, and what makes Carter Bank the bank that people needed to come in and learn about.
Yeah, absolutely. In addition to just being involved in the local community, we are here and available to help individuals and businesses prosper. I mean, that's what we stand for. That's why we show up every day. Really we're a great combination of the best of both worlds. We've got the resources, the solutions a big bank offers, but we've got that local decision making and that local personal touch to really facilitate it. That's what makes a community bank so special. And when you look at, whether you need business solutions, personal banking, or just financial advice, we are here to help you live your life to the fullest.
Yeah, I think it's important because as people, we like to do business with people we like, right? And to put a face to a process is really important. I'm going through that right now with some repairs to my home. And I want to trust, and more importantly, I want to like the person that I'm going to be paying a lot of money, all right, to do repairs on my home. And so it's not just, flip through the yellow pages, how old I am, and, pick somebody, right? It's you want that one-on-one relationship. And I think that, what comes across here is that Carter Bank offers that one-on-one.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. And first of all, thank you for your support of EggQuest. And, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be in year 3. So we really appreciate that. And again, from a date perspective, the egg drops will happen on the 10th and the 19th.
12th.
Excuse me. Yep. If he wasn't here, man, people would be in the parks on like Wednesday.
Which is okay. That's good.
Get out to the parks.
The 12th and the 19th consecutive Saturdays. And just an FYI, there's a huge event going on at the skate park this weekend. So that we will not be hiding eggs at the skate park this weekend. So just don't go out there, because unless you want to go see some cool skateboarding. But from a find the egg perspective, we will not be putting them in the park. So from a redemption perspective, a couple important things. So when you find your egg, there is a voucher inside. And it gives you the opportunity to go to either Carter Bank to redeem your prize or to the Parks and Rec admin office. So if you happen to get one that mentions the Parks and Rec admin office, just be aware we have moved locations. So we are no longer at the one Mooresville location off Iredell Avenue. We are now at 2523 Charlotte Highway, which is the Public Operations Building. So if you find a redemption card that instructs you to go to the Parks and Rec admin office, please come to 2523 Charlotte Highway. And as we mentioned, there are 2 grand prizes, which are really cool. I'm not going to tell you what they are because I don't think I can. But we hope that one of you finds them and you'll really, really enjoy it. So, Dr. Royal, is there anything else you want to say before we move on? First of all, I want to thank you for being my co-host today.
Thank you for
having me. Natural.
Appreciate it. And I would say to the folks who are watching or listening, we posted this on the Facebook page as well. When they do find that egg, we want to share that experience. And so put that on Facebook and hashtag Mooresville EggQuest 2025. And so we always enjoy looking at those pictures, whether it's an adult or a child finding that egg. It's always great to see their expression when they find it.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that because, yes, we definitely want you to share your photos. I think that's as important a part of this process as the finding the egg itself. Is we love to see the expression on people's faces when they find these eggs. So hopefully the weather will cooperate, but it doesn't matter. People will be out there if it's raining. It don't matter.
That's right.
There is a hunt on Saturday, and people will be out in the park. So we appreciate the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee for taking time out of your day to hide the eggs and to participate in this program. We appreciate Carter Bank for supporting the program as well. And we're looking forward to seeing the smiling faces of all the kids here soon. So, all right. So I will talk about some things that are going on in our world. And I know Christine has some things going on, so I'll touch on her stuff first. That girl is I don't know how she does it. Now, super busy, right? But now I'm starting to put the pieces together because I always thought it was odd that literally she never stops eating. Like I don't care what time of day, what meeting we're in, she is always eating something. Now I realize why, because that girl is busy. And so we miss you, Christine. Make sure you eat something. So, all right. So what do we have coming up here in Christine's world? Yes, the final event for the Dolly Parton Tribute Show is coming up on April 11th. The #1 Dolly Parton Tribute Show, and it's the only one that's actually recognized by Dolly herself. And that is happening at the Charles Mack Citizen Center on April 11th. There may or may not be tickets. I am not privy to that, but you can certainly go to mooresvilleartsandevents.com to learn more. And we have talked extensively about the Egg Quest, but I will remind everybody again, egg drops happen on the 12th and the 19th in all the parks, except the skate park this weekend because of the event that's happening out there. So, all right, what else we got going on? Rock the Park starts in May. That's always a very popular activity in the evenings at Liberty Park. I wish I lived in Mooresville because I'd love to go to some of those events. I mean, they have reggae bands, they have funk bands, they have rock bands, they have 8 tributes bands. I mean, there's just a lot going on out there, and it's always fun. And then we mentioned the Border Skate Park competition that's happening, the first annual Race City Open, which is April 11th and 12th. So the first event happens on Broad Street, and then the next day, the competition on the 12th actually happens at the skate park. And a big shout out to the Convention and Visitors Bureau, who brought that event to town. I think it's going to be mega. I don't think they really anticipate the amount of people that come. Having had Thrasher Magazine here 2 years ago to do an exhibition, and we had thousands of people out there. So now this is an actual competition. So a nationally recognized competition. So I imagine we're going to have as many, if not more. So it's going to be crazy. All right, what else is going on? Community events. April 26th, Kendall Schmidt as meet and greet at Ghostface Brewery. That's April 26th from 5 to 7. May 2nd is Uncorked and Artsy in downtown Mooresville from 6 to 9 p.m. That's always a fun event. And given that Mooresville now has a social district, people can go down there and walk around and uncork and enjoy some art. So that's always fun.
Great event.
Yeah. And this, by far my favorite, the Wobbly Butt Brewery, Comedy Zone at Victory Lanes. I laugh every time I say that because the Wobbly Butt is get what you get after you have a couple beverages at the Comedy Zone. So, but they have comedy and let's see, weekly evenings of live stand-up comedy every Wednesday. So that's a really unique place. Been there? Anybody? No?
Paul
Yeah?
does a good job of bringing in good talent over there.
Yeah, so I've always heard that's a lot of fun. And then a couple weeks ago, we had the gentleman from Fred and June's Books here, but too many to list. They have book clubs, crochet clubs, all kinds of things for people to get involved in. So lots going on. Let's see what else. So let's talk about what's happening in Parks and Rec. My world. Okay, we talked about the Egg Quests. Summer camps are coming, and if you want to learn more about any opportunities that may exist, I know they fill up very quickly. There is a waiting list, but if you wanted to get your child on that, go to mooresvillerecreation.org. And again, I say this every week. You have to go to mooresvillerecreation.org to learn about Parks and Recreation. There is so much going on. As mentioned, we have 16 parks, 4 multi-purpose recreational facilities, hundreds of programs, summer camps, events, community outreach programs. There is so much going on. I cannot, in an hour, tell you all the things. So it's important that you kind of bookmark mooresvillerecreation.org, go learn about all the things happening in Parks and Recreation. And then we have some really cool programs coming up. I did not realize still how popular games are. Like, gaming is making a big comeback. And so we have a tabletop gaming program that happens at the War Memorial Recreation Center on Wednesdays from 6 to 9 p.m. It includes a variety of board games, card games, dice games, a lot of competition. You can bring your own or you can choose from our collection. But that's an opportunity at the War Memorial Recreation Center just to kind of unwind and have some social activity and play some games. We also have, if you're interested in your art, if your child is looking to explore their creative side, then we have an open art studio, which happens at the Selma Burke Recreation Center on Thursdays, the first Thursday of each month from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it's a great opportunity to expose your child to the world of art and see if there's the next Picasso. So, all right. Well, again, I appreciate everyone, all the mics, for coming in today and telling us about the Egg Quest, talking about Mooresville Graded School, all the wonderful things happening there, talking about the involvement that Carter Bank has in the community. I think all of the show represents the good things about Mooresville. So any parting words, gentlemen?
Get out and enjoy our parks, our green spaces in Mooresville. There's so many opportunities. Do some research, go exploring, and come bring some of those eggs over to Carter Bank.
All right, Michael.
Well said. Can't say anything further than that.
All right. Well, gentlemen, again, thank you so much for coming in today. And Christine, we look forward to having you back next week. And we appreciate you listening today. We will talk to you next week. Make it a great week. WSIC, I Heart Mooresville, out.